Big Basket now presents RCB Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to Big Basket Now presents the RCB podcast. This is Bold and Beyond, where we get an opportunity to talk to individuals that are involved with sports and looking to take Indian sports to the next level. So let's get started. Hey everyone, so the person sitting next to me needs absolutely no introduction. We know who she is. So let's do it a little differently, okay? Smriti, let's go back in time. 2013, October 29 to be precise. Everyone is looking at a match in Rohtak because Sachin Tendulkar is playing his last Ranji Trophy game. But then let's go to Baroda because almost unnoticed, there's this young teenager also from Maharashtra, same part of the world that Sachin is from, skinny, bespectacled, has got Rahul Dravid's bat, but not batting like Rahul, batting like Lady Dada because she's a left-hander and that's what her coaches call her. And she becomes the first Indian woman, that too in an under-19 tournament, to score 200 runs in one day. Who was that young girl, Smriti? And what did she remember of that day?
So nice.
But it was outstanding.
I mean, genuinely, that you made that 200 sound like wow. I mean, it was proper cinematic.
But it was cinematic, yeah, because that moment was like... See, of course, you started playing at the age of 9, but those moments, you take that to a year later when then you're playing test cricket, you're making your test debut, and that too you scored a 50, and you help your country win a first test match in 8 years. You take it to now, 2025, where, I mean, look at the trophy cabinet. She must have built so many because she is currently the reigning ICC Women's ODI Cricketer of the Year, if not more. The records that you've achieved, the milestones, the journey that is still continuing. And here for the RCB fans, getting a trophy for them in that trophy cabinet. It's huge. That youngster who hit that double 100 in one day. That's the headline. Would she have ever imagined this?
Oh, I mean, all of a sudden I started feeling good about myself. I don't know for what. But no, I think I really didn't know that Sachin sir was playing his last Ranji Trophy match, similar timing. But to be fair, that 200 at that time for me was just trying to enjoy. I didn't know that that's going to happen. Firstly, we were playing Gujarat and I thought I was captaining Maharashtra and I genuinely felt like I should lose the toss and we should field so that, we can finish the match early and leave. But, sometimes, it's God's wish to make it happen and I actually won the toss and then I had to choose to bat because my coach told me specifically that you have to bat. So yeah, and I think from there to now, I never imagined, and more than me, I think I never imagined what's happened with women's cricket overall in the last 6 years.
You've pretty much been a face of this revolution in so many ways. And we call it a re-revolution because, of course, there have been women cricketers in the past, but things have changed now. Now the spotlight is on you. There's broadcasts, there's digital media, and we'll tap into all of that. Your trophy cabinet is pretty big now. A lot of BCCI awards, a lot of ICC awards, a lot of other awards. But I believe there are 2 trophies that no matter the house, no matter the cabinet, that never move anywhere. And is that a shot put trophy?
Shot
from
put.
School?
Oh, okay, the school trophies.
Yeah. Why does that trophy always stay there?
Yeah, it is there. I think if anyone's seen the cabinet, I think there's those small little Krishna Valley where my school trophies are there. I had won pretty much many, but because we used to stay at rent houses, we had to shift, so we lost a few. But when I found them, I think few years back, and I felt so happy and I felt so nostalgic. And yeah, I think those school annual day sports days were the best days of my life at that time when you were as a school kid. And I just felt like, oh, I'm the star for 3 days. I used to win all the 100 meters, 200 meters, shot put, basketball, handball, long jump. They had
everything. Did you get like that all-round excellence sporting award?
So
have they created an award in your school in your name?
No, they did not.
Come on, yeah, it's time.
But they had made a new rule saying that individually you can only win 2 because I started winning all. And but yeah, I think those 3 days definitely, you used to feel like, wow, I'm the star. This is the only time you used to feel at that time. As a school kid, you feel that, right? Because academically, I wasn't I was fine. I was okay. I wasn't that good. So yeah, I think those trophies does hold a special place, and they're definitely kept in the trophy, and I think that will always be there.
It's special you say that because, of course, we know of your family's support and why you got into cricket, because your brother, your father, and we understand that support. We all know that story. But did your school, you're a girl from Sangli, did your school play a role? What are the earliest memories you have when you played sports and put sports in front of, like you said, academics, teachers, friends, colleagues, auntie, uncle, ilake mein? Like, what do people say?
I think it's a big part of a player becoming a player is actually the people around them at that age. And in school, I feel I was very lucky. My mom and dad definitely wanted both of us, me and my brother, to play cricket, and sports was the first priority, and studies was second, which is very rare for a parent. And then we shifted from Mumbai to Sangli when I was around 5 or 6. And specifically, they started looking for schools in Sangli which had sports compulsory or sports as a priority. And they found my school, Krishna Valley, which was had a compulsory lecture for an hour for sports compulsory at that time. I mean, I don't see it still happening a lot in any other schools. Or
it doesn't. It still doesn't.
I don't know if it's the same. But that was the only school at that time which was doing that. And that made us actually pick a lot of sports. We played every day. We had to choose a sport. I almost played national handballs and basketball, tried my hand on every sport. And that actually created a lot of even national players out of the school. I mean, I was not the only
girl playing sports, basically.
No, I was not the only girl playing sport. But unfortunately, cricket wasn't there for girls at that time, which I'm sure they would have changed now. But I wanted to choose cricket, but I didn't have an option, so I had to go to handball or basketball. But I think sport is sport. I mean, definitely cricket wasn't there, but me playing handball or basketball or all other sports helped me a lot as an athlete overall. I mean, it made me a lot more fitter at that age because I was playing that many sports, and made me mentally strong as well because, when you play different sport, you have to adapt, you have to change. So yeah, I think school played a massive role. Plus the leaves. I mean, we are away for
that's the beauty.
I mean, I started playing at 11 for under 19, so I was almost in like 6th standard or something, 5th or 6th standard. And I mean, if you miss school for like more than 3 or 4 months, I think it's a huge deal for the school. They don't allow. We used to just give a letter and they used to allow us because they were like, we'll change the exam dates, we'll try and manage, but sports is a priority, which was amazing.
That's amazing, actually, that your school has played such a role. But I mean, you started before that, right? Because you played at 9 years old. You played cricket at 9 also in under 15. Now, you were a sensation. That happens. You are a sensation, and it happens to special people. You start at such a young age. You're so committed, so focused.
I wasn't actually.
That's what I want to ask you. At 9 years old, you want to be enjoying a childhood. Do you now, in retrospect, with a more mature gaze, do you look back and say, did I miss out on anything? Or, was it fun? Obviously it wasn't a normal childhood, but do you now look back and say, I wish I could have done that as a child?
Not really. I think looking back, of course, there's one thing that as friends, I couldn't be that really good friend that I could be there for them the whole year. But apart from that, I don't see it as something which I thought that, I missed out, because the only thing which I really loved and I knew that I can do is cricket. and yeah, I think as 9-year-old, I never thought I want to play for India. What's going to happen? Ye hoga. I just knew I want to play. I mean, you just loved it. I just loved batting. Fielding bhi pasand nahi thi, bowling bhi pasand nahi thi. I mean, I didn't like all of those things. I just liked batting. I could bat for 5-6 hours straight without anyone interrupting. I used to change my clubs because they should not give me batting enough. Then I used to go to the coach and say, you're not giving me batting, I'm changing.
So, wo zid pehle se tha, that stubborn?
Yeah, I was more stubborn. I think I as I matured, I grew better. I mean, I think I was a very stubborn and angry kid. I mean, no one would relate it now, but yeah, I think that also helped, because when you're the only girl playing in 100 boys at that time, I mean, and when someone gets hit, if you hit a boy, I mean, at that age, now it's still a lot more awareness, a lot more. I mean, the young girls have a lot more advantages. I think at that time, if you hit a boy, I think next ball is to be a bouncer because they used to get teased कि लड़की से कैसे मार खा ली.
So they basically never held back. So that is made you, no one held back.
Again, it was a good thing. I mean, now I'm not scared of bouncers. It's because of them.
Fair point. Do you remember, like, when you first got like a proper bat? Like, so tell me the story of like people passing on bats to you, or one bat that you were really excited to use, you know, because every cricketer, especially because you love batting so much, every batter has that, you know, you do the tuk 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 all that. I mean, I live with the cricketer, so I know. I hear it in my, like, I hear it in my sleep sometimes.
12 o'clock, 2 a.m. at night, and I think I have a story which I don't think I've shared much. So, because you're a second kid, I don't know if you're the first or the second.
I'm the first.
Oh, so you're the privileged. You're the privileged one who gets first time. You get first time stuff. I think second ones are the ones second one are the one who get all the used stuff. So I was the second one. So भैया का जो बचा कुचा बैट था, जो भी था, वो सब मुझे मिलता था. थोड़ा सा भी साइड से चला गया तो वो मैं लेती थी. So I think that was the case till I think good 3-4 years, because I started playing at 5 or 6. So 4-5 years it was only bhaiya's bat. The first time I got into under 15, or I think the school nationals I played for the first time. And I remember I was at Meerut, and that was my first place where I toured. And my dad came with me because I was too young to go alone. And my dad knew a bat company there who he used to send bats for Papa. I don't know what was the thing. So they said कि अरे आपकी बेटी बड़े बैट से यूज करी, रुको मैं उसके लिए स्पेशली बना के लाता हूँ. So it was a company, I think, named RS. I don't know if it even exists now. So that uncle was kind enough. So I was very excited. I couldn't sleep. I'm like, wow, मेरी पहली bat आने वाली है. And after 2 days, I think he got a specialized bat according to my size, because I was this tiny. He got according to my size, according to my weight, and I held that bat, and I was just like, this is it. I mean, this is the moment for me. And at that time, it's much more bigger than 100 or anything to get your first bat. So yeah, I think that I remember now.
That's a huge thing. And I mean, obviously you played a lot with the boys. What were you quote that your mother was a huge example, a huge role model, because, you know, she just handled everything, handled your family and all of that, and a huge source of support. But what were the other women like? Did you have a chance to look at women cricketers, athletes? I mean, there was not much coverage at that time apart from playing with the boys. So were there any stories that used to filter down to you about like women athletes and women cricketers?
I think 2 names for sure everyone knew was Mithali Raj and Jhulan Goswami. I think growing up, these 2 names, I think Mithali and Jhulu, these names everyone knew. Even though it was not on TV, you knew that. You didn't even know how they look at that time, but you knew the name because you could read somewhere in the corner of the paper. You could read that Aaj. I mean, there would be a small cutout saying India yahan se jeet liya, or they scored, or this happened. So that were the only 2 names at that time which you knew. And I remember I used to only read the sports column of
I still only read the sports column. The newspaper always opens from the back.
So there was a Marathi.
Now I see your face there.
I think I was reading a Marathi newspaper, and in a small, like just at the bottom right corner, there was that Jhulan Goswami is the first woman to ever win a ICC trophy. And I read it, and I think I don't know what age I was. I shouldn't say Juludi will kill me because she'll be like, "Arey, mere ko itna tune." But I read it, and I went running to my mom. I was like, "Ye dekh kitni badi baat hai. India ki ladki ne ICC ki trophy jeeti." All of that thing. I was very excited, and then mom was like, "What? I mean, do you like?" Because she was confused, should I play tennis or cricket? But then I was always inclined towards cricket. So I said, nahi, I mean, I want to play cricket only. And cut to me being the second woman, I think that felt unreal in 2018, because that was a moment I ran from hall to the kitchen to show my mom that see what's happened and what a girl has done. So yeah, I think those are the only stories which we got to know. And maybe Serena Williams was there, who was one of the role models. You could see her changing the landscape for women's tennis at that time. But yeah, I think more than that, like now how you have so many role models in women athletes, I don't think at that time there weren't that many.
One thing that I always admired, because I also am a huge Serena Williams fan, and I literally would watch tennis because of her and because of Sania Mirza. And one thing I admired about both of them, which I admire about you, is that they not only owned every aspect of their sport, but also every aspect of their personality. So there was no shying away from, listen, I'm a girl who plays sports. There are other aspects of my femininity that I might enjoy, my style or my personal interactions, my friendships, things that I want to do. And you got to also respect me as a sports person. So do you feel like now you have found that balance of owning all aspects of your life, that when it comes to being, you know, a sister, a daughter, if you're in a relationship, you have a partner or a friend, and also captain of RCB?
I always felt that when I used to go and play with a lot of guys that, you know, I want to be myself. I don't want to say, like, even now I say that I hate the comparison around it. I am not going to be hitting a 90-meter six, but appreciate for what I'm hitting. I mean, you know, that has to be a realistic thing. And
of course,
I am a big believer on that. So I don't think I tried to, I don't know about both of them, but of course they are icons and all. But for me, I think I was just simple. I just wanted to do what I want to do. I think regardless of a girl or a boy, I would do what a girl would want to do. I mean, if I want to do that, I would do that. If not, I am not a thing. I think I have not overthought the whole process that the guy or a girl thing. I think I'm not that one of those. I was just like, if I want to do this, I'll do it. If I don't want to do it, I wouldn't do it. Like, same thing around the family stuff or anything. I did what I felt like. And I think having that support system in your family, that they let you be, I think that for a girl is the most important thing. I think for us, what world says or what happens, I think doesn't matter till people around you are appreciating you for how you are or what you are. Like, I was a tomboy growing up. So, I mean...
You were?
I mean, I'm still a little bit. But I was like a tomboy. Yeah. But even in Diwalis and all, if I wanted to wear a track pant and a top, I would do that. I mean, and my mom never said that, oh, kurti pehen le or ye pehen le. My mom was like, theek hai. I mean, you're comfortable to do that. Yeah. And now if I want to wear it, I'm wearing it out of my choice because I like it. So, you know, that one thing is for sure there, that I would only do something which is of my choice.
I think that's an important message though. I mean, like we are talking about icons, you yourself are an icon. That's an important message for the young girls that are watching, because you have to think of yourself as, despite your gender in whatever field that you're playing in, you've got to be the best you can be, but also own parts of yourself. You always quote 2017 World Cup as a huge turning point in women's cricket, because suddenly you're all in the spotlight. And I was hosting it, we were broadcasting it. The numbers for that final were outstanding. We saw the interest that people had taken in women's cricket, if we have to decipher. How did you see that change happening from your own personal point? I mean, were there more people looking at you? Were there more people analyzing you? Like, how was that change? How did you feel that change personally?
Yeah, it was massive. I think I went into the World Cup. I didn't know how to use Instagram. I was not one of those Gen Zs who knew Instagram a lot. I think I went into with, 800 odd followers. Yeah. And I think I came back with around 1 million. I mean, that was, and I didn't know what's happening. I think my friends always say that I'm a little old school for the Gen Z stuff. I mean, I was very late into all of this, and I still don't know.
And now you have media managers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still like very bad.
Like a whole round of people around.
Yeah, 2017 World Cup, I think when we came back and we saw the reception at airport, I mean, to be fair, as a women cricketer, I never thought that this is going to happen. To be fair, I would never ever imagine that ye hoga kabhi hamare saath. And it happened after we losing the final, not even that we won the World Cup final.
Point, yeah.
That generally it happens after you win the World Cup final and people are coming to receive you. And people are actually coming to receive us after losing the final. So which was, I think, a huge moment. And after that, the first times it happened that you went to a mall and people came up to you. I mean, at that time, maybe they did not recollect the name. They would be like, you play for Indian women's team, right? And, I just started feeling happy. And I mean, Harman had just scored that 171, so not many people used to come, Harmanpreet Kaur, like no, I'm not Harman, but yeah, she's there, but I am not that one. But because maybe the pony was the similar one, I don't know why they used to think we were, but yeah, I think 2017, as you said, was in Indian cricket one of the most, I would say it would be remembered for that one transition happened from one place to another. Of course, people who have played before that as well, I think they did amazingly well to get us still there. But that 2017 World Cup kind of changed a lot of things.
I think you became like, because you said you weren't big on social media, you became like the Indian sweetheart sometime. Did you guys see like all that? And that's too, the beauty of that was when you were like India's darling, it was all like you batting and then they slowed your eye movement. Oh my God, look at her focus and I'm in love. And they were like little hearts.
And to be fair, I was like this spectacled kid who no one ever saw. Before that,
you were like India.
No, that is
there were guys like hearts and
people
love
don't realize what happened overnight, because I was this. I mean, when you are that spectacle kid, no one is looking at you. I never had open hair. I was always in a pony. I was like, no, literally, even in school, I didn't get a lot of guys' attention. And all of a sudden, there is this. I started wearing lenses in that World Cup, and all of a sudden, the whole country is like, oh, look at her. And I'm like, really? I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like,
but Smriti, what a rom-com. Like the girl removes her glasses and then the whole world notices.
I was someone was showing me that, and I was like, oh, that actually happened. The whole rom-com story to me. Yeah, genuinely, I think that it can be like a whole cinematic thing. The chashma nikala, agla tour gayi, and all of a sudden I'm on Instagram. I'm like, I asked my brother, I called my brother, "Hey, kya chal raha, pagal ho gaye kya? Main to same hi hu." So it was very funny, yeah.
But it's like for you personally, after that, there's suddenly all of this attention. There's investment, and we'll get into that. There's financial investment. There's emotional investment in Indian women's cricket. But for you personally, then you went through a bit of a tough period.
Yeah.
So all eyes are on you, and then you're going through what is a tough phase. Mentally, how did you have to change something about yourself or try another way? Because we've all fallen, and as a cricketer, you've all fallen and you pick yourself up, and now everyone's watching you.
Yeah, I think 2017, last 7 matches were very tough in terms. Of course, we were winning, but I was not able to contribute, and because of the first 2 matches, people started expecting that I go in every match, and I think I was 19 at that time, so I didn't know how to take it. And this is the first time it's happening to women's cricket. Plus, the form has also dipped in a way. And I'm just 19. I mean,
It's a lot.
It's a lot. So, and I had just come off an ACL surgery, so the whole that 7 months were also mentally quite taxing. And all of a sudden, so yeah, I think it was very hard at that time to take. And I think the support staff which we had, I used to go to them. I used to went out and try and see what I could do. And we came back, the reception happened. In your head, you still have those thoughts that, oh, I should have batted this way, that way. Because when you've had like 6 matches where you don't score, it's a really tough thing, especially as an opener. And the only thing I think which I tried to change after 17 to 18 was the way I practiced. I mean, I saw in 2017 the way women's cricket had, people were hitting the ball, or the way they were coming in with that aggressive approach as a batter. Yeah. And I just thought that I am really behind and I have to take my game up. More than mentally, I just thought that, I can't play cricket like this. That's one conversation you have as a cricketer to yourself, that, if you want to play, you play at this level, otherwise you don't. It's as simple as that. And for that, whatever I would want to do, I would go out and do. And luckily we had 4 or 5 months off, and in those 4 and 5 months, I completely changed the way I practiced. Right from my shots.
What was the change that you made, if you can give us a few more details?
So generally I would go to a batting session earlier, and I would just play balls and play those grounded shots and play the bowlers and all of that. I went in, I started hitting. First ball, I told my coach that you have to pitch, and I'm trying to hit. So we started marking cones. I used to only hit 50 meters at that time because I was more of a boundary hitter. To hit with that sort of a power. Then we started marking 50 meters, 60 meters, 70 meters, and the aim was to try and touch 70. So we had a bucket of 25 balls, and I had to at least 6 to 7 balls have to go beyond 65, 70. Some have to go beyond 60. So those were the targets. First 10, 15 days were miserable. I would just cross 50 meters and all. But yeah, I think I saw that growth. I think after 15th day, I started hitting the ball.
But did you change the diet, anything in training also that contributed to that?
Yeah, the whole thing.
You had to change.
Yeah, everything. The way I started, I think 2017, before that, because of my ACL surgery, I was introduced to gymming and those sort of things. So that base was already there. But I felt skill-wise, I didn't have that. Because I never practiced for that. Because domestic cricket, you play domestic cricket, maybe it's not needed. And when you see international players hitting a certain way and you're like, oh, I mean, I can't do that. I mean, that's bad. So yeah, I think you go back to drawing room and you start thinking which shots you can play. So how can you get the power and how can you get the bat speed more than anything? I think the bat speed is really important. And as a timer of the, I am just a timer more. So the bat speed was never a natural thing to me. So for that, genuinely, I would have hit 500, 600 balls every day for like a month and a half. And then I started seeing the result. I started seeing the magic. I mean, and in 2018, luckily I got like 24 ball 50. I mean, I got the fastest 50 and then I was like, wow, okay. I mean, you do the work and it kind of pays off.
And for someone who like conventionally can be a purist and has a conventional way of playing, you play all three formats, and that requires, especially in one-day cricket, it requires all phases from consolidation to partnerships to running and then knowing when to strike. In those moments, do you still rely on situational awareness or what is instinct?
Situational awareness. I think ODI cricket is all about situational awareness and knowing when to curb your shots and knowing when to play your shots. I think those two things are the most important things in one-day cricket, I would say. Because as a batter, sometimes you feel that you can hit every ball. But if the team doesn't require it, you don't have to. I mean, again, T20 cricket, the team requires, then you will have to. So for one-day cricket, I just feel that because the phases of the game changes so much, that first 10 overs you have to bat a certain way. Then 25 overs, again, rely on singles and doubles and then a boundary ball. And then again, 15 overs, again, acceleration. I think that's one thing which I had to really change about myself, because 2017 I was that kid. I was like, okay, in my slot I'm going to go for it. I don't care about anything. And then of course the responsibility of the batting comes a little bit more on you, and then you realize that, okay, I mean, even if I want to hit that ball and the team doesn't require me to hit that ball, I need to take a single. And that batting ego, I always say to people whoever asks me this question, like the other girls, I always say that in one-day cricket, batting ego is something which you have to not have. Because as batters, we have this ego. I mean, I'm like, isko to maar dungi, isko to ye kar dungi. I mean, but at that time, it's very hard to like just say to ourselves that, nah, the team doesn't require. So, I mean, you have to always keep what the team requires more than what you actually require. So, I think in all three formats, having that batting ego, not having that batting ego is the most important thing, which I feel.
But it's so funny to hear you say that. Obviously, you are responsible, you are mature from that perspective, because so often people who have that risk-taking ability in them, we're like, just play your natural game, do it, and you feed into that batting ego, and then you applaud it. And then, so like, how does it work? Is it just like, if you're in a position of leadership, how does it work when it comes to certain players? Is it different rules for certain players? Does it need to be that way?
I think so, yes. Because as much as I have been in the leadership group and I used to always be that person, maybe a few years back, that this is right and this is wrong. And what a player is doing, this is right way and this is the wrong way. But over years, I've seen that there's no right and wrong way. I mean, maybe this works for me. It might not work for someone who's similar batter to me as well. There's something very different which will work for her. And she has to find her own ways. I mean, we are all there to guide. We will say, okay, maybe try this, try that. But I don't know. At the end, I always believe that आप जाके तो रात को अकेले ही सोते हो. Yeah. And you only...
It's you and your own thoughts.
Yeah, you have to battle your own thoughts. So I would say that to each player, it changes. I think what works for them, they have to find that balance. And I think it's just about finding that balance. It's not about playing a certain... People are like, aggressive cricket खेलना है, ऐसा cricket खेलना है. There's nothing, I feel. You just have to find your own balance as a batter, is what is working for you and where you can contribute the best to the team. I think once that thought comes, all those things are taken care of. Sometimes when you put yourself ahead of the team is when that whole thing happens कि मुझे ऐसा ही खेलना है. But if you want to play like that and you're still doing what team requires you to do it. I mean, everyone would be very, very happy. So yeah, again, it's a very format-based thought, and we should not mix the formats like T20, one day and test. I think it's a very different ball game. So everyone has to think it differently, and what works the best. Simple. I mean, तुम्हारे लिए जो काम करता है करो. people can be legends of the game, but what works for them may not work for you because it's a different era, different generation, different challenges. I always believe every 4 years there's a different challenge. So find your own way, and if needed, we all are there. So.
And that's a fair point. I mean, you look at it from the different eras, but you said balancing act. I find you doing this brilliant balancing act of being like this premier batter for your country and then also building your brand. With pay parity and all of that for women's cricket of late, there is this almost like a financial revolution, and you are a bit of a role model as to how to expand on that financial revolution personally. You know, you've looked to build your brand, you look to be an entrepreneur, and of course, the greatest thing that any child can do is, you know, help your parents after all the sacrifices that they made and buy them a house. So how has all that come across to you when it comes to, you know, getting those paychecks and just being really smart with those paychecks, because that's something really important for young women to understand?
I think I can answer that in one line. I'm a Marwadi.
That explains everything.
I mean, I don't have to like go ahead and say anything ahead of it. I mean, it's naturally there. I mean, you know, as Marwadis, we are. I mean, we know where to invest, what to do with the money, and what not to do. I think that's also very important. Brand-wise, I think eventually, I always believe that it only reflects of how you play on the field. People sometimes get into a lot of how do I build a brand and how do I... Of course, yeah, you maybe have to learn a few things like how do you speak or how you want to come across, or maybe what clothes you're wearing. Those are very superficial things. A lot of people can do that. I mean, a lot of people can do that. But I feel our main priority as a brand is what we do on the field. And that's the only thing which is going to reflect. I mean, I could do all those 3 things and not do anything on the field. No one is looking at me. So, I mean, the first priority for sure is the on-field stuff. And I feel that's 80% of it. And 20%, of course, I think as you grow as a girl, you realize maybe these are the good things. Maybe you should talk a certain way, or if you feel that maybe you're fumbling, and it's only for the confidence, I feel. And more confident you are as a person, it only reflects on your game as well. So I think I have done few classes here and there just to, in COVID, I think you didn't have time. I just,
That's great. I mean, a lot of people won't know that you've actually invested in that part of building yourself as a personality.
I mean, COVID में किसी को कुछ काम नहीं था तो online. I mean, I didn't have. I was like, चलो.
हम COVID में बच्चा पैदा कर रहे थे. She was getting like a BA degree and
no degree. I mean, just. I'm joking. I mean, just to come across what sometimes as an athlete you want to say a lot of things, but you don't know how to tell it.
Of course, yeah. Sure.
So I just feel that I just had to find a way that how do I tell it. And as I said, in COVID, we didn't have time, so I thought, okay, this is a good time. Let's just do it, because cricket खेलते वक्त नहीं याद आता, सच बता रही हूँ. क्रिकेट खेलते वक्त नहीं समझता कि आप कैसे दिख रहे हो, क्या हो रहा है, क्या बात करो, और करना भी नहीं चाहिए. That's not our work.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So yeah, I think वो सब तो हुआ. देखो, it happened naturally. I haven't put any effort into that whole thing. Only effort is on the field, what I can do.
Do you remember your first ad shoot and what it was?
Oh yeah, I do. I think I was doing for a shoe brand back in 2017, and I was running on Marine Drive, and they had blocked the Marine Drive. Okay. It was my first shoot, and there were like people watching it. And I'm a naturally very shy person. I really don't like people watching and all of that.
You're like the wrong profession.
I know. I know, right? But I mean, now you're just used to it. On the field, it's still fine. Out of the field, if you see, I'm mostly wearing my mask and hoodie, and I'm just like, I don't want it.
You see someone who looks like Smriti wearing a mask, it is not okay.
I've said the wrong place. But yeah, I think I was running on Marine Drive with their shoes, and when I saw the video clip of it looked completely different to what I did, because they use so much of stuff of their talent. But yeah, I was very nervous. I don't think I slept that night. I would have not been nervous to bat as well, but I was very nervous because I don't think I was very camera friendly at that time.
It takes time actually to get used to it.
I mean, I think only last year I'm like, okay, now what I have to do.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
now
I think
you're like a pro.
That's what it's just like last 1 or 2 years where I'm like, okay, now what to do. I still forget. I have such a bad memory that if you tell me a line to give, I'll take like 5 takes because my
That's why
memory
we
is
kept
bad.
it for the end of this interview. Mazak hai.
Right.
But I mean, that way then WPL, and for a team like RCB, that must have been a game changer, because RCB, like the franchise in itself, it goes hand in hands with the fan following, almost iconic. It is iconic actually. So to wear that RCB jersey, and let's actually rewind your story back to, was it 2016 or 17 where you were doing some rehab and you were watching games at the Chinnaswamy RCB games? With your mum, is that it? So what was the whole conversation? Tell me. And which game were you watching, by the way? 2016 में था या 2017?
2016.
अच्छा, तो जब final पहुंचे थे. Yeah, RCB.
Oh yeah, Gale and all were there. Yeah, I remember.
AB,
yeah,
all those. Huh?
I could not get into the box at that time because I asked, and of course I couldn't get into because it was very last moment, and I was sitting somewhere. Though, like when EBD entered and Virat entered, the whole like crowd went crazy. I saw all of that. And I was like, wow, I mean, that was my first live match maybe in India. I don't watch a lot of live matches. I didn't have anything to do. And I was like, wow, this is like a crazy atmosphere. I never expected it. To get into the stadium took me like 45 minutes, which was, and then I was like, okay, I have to take mom to this. I mean, I want her to experience it. So there was an eliminator and I asked for box tickets. Luckily, I got 2. And my mom saw this and she's like, कब होगा ऐसा women's cricket के लिए? I'm like, कुछ भी क्या बात कर रही है, सपने मत देख, ऐसा कभी नहीं होगा, ये तो बहुत मतलब आई मीन दिस इज वेरी हार्ड टू डू एंड ऐसा सम स्लेम आंसर आई गेव माय मॉम इज लाइक नहीं देख बेटा होगा, देख होगा तू ऐसे अच्छी बातें कर. मॉम इज ऑलवेज लाइक टॉक पॉजिटिव, बी गुड एंड ओनली टॉक गुड थिंग्स. लाइक so she shuts me up if I say something like negative. So they're like अच्छी बातें कर होगा. In my head I'm like पागल है, कुछ भी नहीं होगा. I mean कभी नहीं होगा ऐसा. And cut to, I think we played last year at Chinnaswamy, and I saw people flocking outside the stadium when I was entering, and it just took me back to 2016, and I was like, wow, I mean I never expected this. And then that toss thing happened. Generally, I am not a very expressive person. I mean, I feel I don't have any expressions on the field. But I think that toss moment for me was like, oh man, wow, this is happening to a women cricketer. And I'm part of that era. I mean, I just felt really happy about it. And I felt like for the whole community as a whole, I felt that was like a really nice moment.
For those of you who didn't watch, the toss was, she couldn't go through with the toss because the fans were screaming for RCB and Smriti, and it was insane because you see it happen all the time. You've seen the fandom. I mean, we're talking about almost 2 decades of IPL. So for WPL to have that sort of reception, I'll tell you what was really emotional for me as, I guess as a broadcaster who's seen cricket for a long time now, was watching that guard of honor at the RCB unboxing event. Because I don't think I've seen anywhere in the world, it wasn't about men and women's cricket there. It was just about a unit, a franchise. It was about family and just sheer love and respect. To have, RCB captain number 18 walk out and RCB player number 18 giving you that guard of honor, I think was a huge moment because it really reflected unity. And it reflected equality. And what it meant to these fans who've waited so long for that. Talk me through what that whole experience
I think that's the first thing which I always thought of RCB as a franchise. Even the first year we couldn't do. But the one thing which I always felt that they never ever said that, oh, this is a women's team. They always came and said, oh, this is RCB team, which is such a great thing. I feel as a management, that's like 10 plus from a women cricketer for them. I mean, they were very clear that this is an RCB team and we are going to treat it as an RCB team, which was, I feel, the first year was a part which made me, because we just finished the auction in 3 days, we are playing for the franchise. So you somewhat don't connect because you're just playing in 3 days. But this side of the management made me feel that I really want to give back to the franchisee and the management. Of course, the fans' experience and all, I started feeling it second year. But even from the first year, I started feeling that for the management because they created that whole environment around it. That was really cool. And then the fans, I think. What do I talk about RCB fans? Wherever I've gone in last 1 year, I mean, people have thanked me. People have, I don't know what they have spoken, and now it's a new thing. Madam, Isala Cup number 2.
Yeah, so now you're going with pressure.
So which is very funny, and I just laugh it off because I never speak ahead of anything. So I just laugh it off. But yeah, I think like they come to me and like, we love RCB and we're so happy you were picked by RCB on all of that, and I just feel like, you know, they come. We played a match in Bangalore, India versus South Africa, and they came in huge numbers supporting.
And a lot of them wearing RCB jerseys.
RCB jerseys. So yeah, I think that's what you said. The point was that, you know, that equality and that guard of honor. I think I never expected that that's gonna happen. I mean, as I said, in 2016, what happened to we walking in Chinnaswamy with a trophy, and I think all the management and the men cricketer, all the greats of the game are also there and giving you a guard of honor, and then the lap. I mean,
that was extraordinary.
Me being the shy person, I started celebrating and throwing balls like to the crowd was I would never do that. So yeah, I think they all, and after that as well, not many people know when we went to the cafe, RCB bar and cafe, when we reached, so the trophy was stuck in traffic.
It's Bangalore. So
yeah, I mean, because maybe RCB had put out on their page that the team is heading, and from that balcony we are looking down. We couldn't see the road. I mean, the whole road was. It felt like Shah Rukh Khan's Mannat ke Bahar jaisa hota hai na. So it was like that, and they are like, they don't want to see any player. They don't want to see anything. They were just shouting, "Trophy lao, trophy lao," and the trophy is stuck. Trophy is half an hour. So they made me go and tell the crowd that it's on the way. It's 10 minutes. They waited for 10 minutes quietly. After 10 minutes again, trophy kidhar hai, trophy kidhar hai.
God.
And when finally the trophy came, I think that would have been the loudest cheer. I mean, no other player would have ever got when the trophy got it.
But it's amazing because I know you have played franchise cricket all over the globe before the WPL started. So you experienced that. You've also had a chance to see, okay, you know, like you said, this is the level and these are the things I need to work on. But that whole process of coming in, going into an auction, going to the state that you're not born into, but that it then adopts you. And now, you know, we're talking about a new season, and every season has its challenges. There will be injuries, there will be different management, different players, your own expectations. For you now, how have you learned how to balance that and take on pressure? Because it is a lot of pressure of expectations. Even if you try and put it out, every newspaper, every headline, every fan will see Sala Cup number 2. It will be, you know, you will, that is what this franchise cricket is all about. That.
Yeah. I think leading RCB 2 seasons have really calmed me down as a person, and not thinking too far ahead. I think one thing which, and whatever news come to you as well in terms of injuries or anything, I think one thing which I have seen change in myself, I mean, I would maybe react a certain way earlier, but now I feel that sense of calmness has come because maybe you're 2 seasons into it and you've led twice. So I mean, the only thing, of course, I was always calm, but I think now that sense of calmness has come, that, I mean, what's going to happen since after 14 Feb is something which is not in our hands. I mean, we would want to do everything in our power as a team to try and play the best cricket. I wouldn't even name saying that we would want to win. We would want to play the best cricket what is there. But now what is there with us in the terms of the camp, so we really invest heavily as a management and the support staff. I think we have brilliant support staff and all of us involved. We really heavily invest in how we want to prepare the players in the next 8 days so that every player on the 13th night feels that I'm ready to go. And that is something is in my hand. Injuries are not in my hand. Who is going to play in the 11 at that point, you don't know because of the...
Depends.
How it's going to happen. So nothing is in our hand, but only one thing is preparation. And we know as an RCB unit, we'll try and prepare the best way in the next 7-8 days. And then, again, take on the journey with absolute positivity. And last year, we saw if you're positive and happy unit, I mean, magic can happen if we could win that eliminator out of nowhere. I think magic can happen. Yeah.
It was a brilliant campaign. I believe there's some very interesting methods of inspiring players. Like you're like just dangling iPads and dangling gifts. And these are all the rumors I've heard. Okay.
ये कौन बोला?
Yeah, is that right?
रेणुका ने बोला. एक ही है वो रेणुका.
Achha, it's only her. Achha, so like you said,
No, I think
different players special treatment.
most of the other people are bats because they get bribed with my bats. So Renuka being a bowler, she doesn't care about bats.
Yeah.
So most of the times there was one Commonwealth where we playing Australian. I was like, चल ऊपर के 4 ले ले. I'll give you whatever you want. मैंने तो बोल दिया. बंदी सच में जाके 4 बराबर 4 ही ली. मैंने बोला 5 ही बोलती थी, 5 ले ली थी, 4 ही ली उसने. फिर और जैसे ही 4th wicket आया, she didn't go anywhere. She came straight to me. iPad चाहिए. So that's Renuka. And then I realized that to get best out of her, it's like that only. I mean, you have to little bit bribe her कि पता जो चाहिए वो दे दूंगी. Last year Shrey, I gave a bat to I think Asha or someone, and then she was like, "Where is my bat?" And I said that you win the purple cap. At that time, she was not even the top 5 wicket taker.
Oh, she had
तो मैंने ऐसे ही बोल दिया ना कि तू purple cap ले ले, तेरा लाइफ टाइम में बैट स्पॉन्सर करूंगी. वो भी हो गया. चलो I still have to go and get her a bat, which she still keeps telling me कि you have not lived up. But yeah, I think शायद मैं भी इसीलिए superstitious भी हो जाती हूँ कि शायद बोल के हो रहा है तो बोल ही देती हूँ.
So maybe you got that foresight, like you just say what happens.
Oh, I wish I had that, but I don't have it. I think I have a black tongue.
Don't say all these things also. That is too hard. That's too hard a superstition. Are you superstitious at all though? So many athletes are superstitious.
I was, before my ACL, I was very superstitious.
Like what? About first this pad and
No. I had a very weird superstition. I wanted my leg guard to be given not in the first time. I mean,
okay,
it's a very weird one. I don't think
you can tell us.
So when you go and you say leg guard, please. I mean, I didn't want it that umpire says on your leg. I wanted him to say ki andar ya jo bhi. So once I kept it so far ahead, I like long way in. so yeah, that one superstition I had.
Is there like a habit, like a game day routine for you? Is there anything like that?
Game day routine, yeah, it's changed massively now. I feel a better person now. But earlier I would just sleep and get up and go and play.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we have a priming session and then a good stretching session. I have started meditating and doing a little bit of breathing exercises, which is a new introduction in the last 3 months, which I feel has helped me quite a lot. So these are the few things which I do, and I really like to take my time before match. I mean, no one has to talk to me in terms ki hurry me up. I will take my own sweet time. I don't like many people in the room. So even if my mom, dad or someone's come, I will just say that this 45 minutes, find your place. Don't be in the room. So yeah, those small little things I have. Otherwise, I don't think.
And bus me, you have a seat.
I do have.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Where do you sit?
I think left 4th.
Yeah. Have you ever found someone sitting on your seat? And
so many times. Yeah. Nowadays, girls do that for me. I'm like, no. Because Indian team, it's easy, because everyone has their seats. I mean, they know where they're going and they're sitting. Of course, when you play franchisee cricket, again, you have to start doing it. And but yeah, everyone has a seat. And समझ जाता है, पता है किसी का 2 मैच अच्छा नहीं हो कि सीट चेंज. ये तो I feel
that happens, yeah.
And as much as we be cool about it, I am not and all that. I think somewhere वो गाना सुन लिया, सो मार लिया, वही गाना सुन के जाओगे आप मैच में. I mean वो हो जाता है.
Everyone has that tournament superstition.
Yeah, tournament superstition. It goes off once you enter the other tournament. So it's all there.
One of the things that I've heard about you, and of course talking to you also, because is that I think you do have a lot of empathy, especially when you're situations when things are going tough. And in one of your interviews, I heard you talking about when hard times where you had to learn how to maybe just forgive yourself and not be so hard on yourself. So has that kind of shaped your mindset? Because often when you're an elite athlete, and especially a cricketer in India, you're going to have more bad days than good days. And your bad days, it's in front of the whole world. So you to keep reminding that I'm human, they're also human. So is that sometimes a challenge to find that balance?
Yeah, it's I think a big challenge. As much experience you can get, you still have those low moments with your own self, thinking, am I good enough, or what do I have to do? So those moments are there, and I feel that moments are really important, and it should come at every stage of your life or every day of, every month or something. You have to have that moment to Otherwise, if you feel you know it all, you're not going ahead, is what I feel. And I used to try and ignore those moments, and I should not accept that, oh, I'm too cool and I don't need it, or I'm not emotional, I'm chill, I'm cool, and all of that stuff. But now I think in last 1 or 2 years, I've realized that, those moments are the moments which actually shape you, and how you take it, or how you go with it, or decide what to do after that, I feel is a task. And people talk about those moments. Now, you're never gonna have not gonna have those sort of moments. But what you do the next moment is the moment for me. And that's what I tell everyone, that the easiest thing is to lock yourself in a room and cry. And the hardest thing is to open the gate and go to the gym and do your session on the bad days. So I think nowadays I choose the second one, and regardless of whatever happened, I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I think I just step out and I do my routines. I have strong routines, and I think that routines have really helped me to know how do I handle it. And then that moments are going to come, come on. Not only cricketers,
it's life.
Everyone's going to get those moments, but I think as a person, how you react to those moments are something which shapes you up as a person.
That's life. Before we conclude, I want to quickly, because you're in a nice chatty mood. So let's have some fun and think about some, not just Indian cricketers, but like maybe people like you said, like you, people like you admire. And what would be the one question that you would ask them? So if you met Serena Williams, what would you ask her?
How? How did you do all this?
I'm still doing it.
Yeah, still doing it. And she played when she was pregnant, and she won a Grand Slam. Unrealistic.
She was like 19 weeks pregnant, so उसमें तो पता ही नहीं चलता.
But still,
I know it's hard. Morning sickness, this, that.
Unrealistic stuff she's done. I don't know, number of Grand Slams I wouldn't want to. How? That's the question I'll ask. How?
Fair. What would you ask MS Dhoni?
I think I've had a good chat with him.
Yeah?
So, yeah.
Okay, so what's the best? What's been your biggest takeaway from your chat with him?
A lot of takeaways, but I think I should keep it with myself. I'm not the one, because I don't want people to talk about that. But yeah, I think I've had a really good chat, and I think whatever he said to me, I took a lot of those things, especially in terms of leadership point of view. I took a lot of things.
What would you ask someone who you were constantly compared to because you were left-hander, and that's the left-handed Dada? What would you ask Saurav Ganguly?
I've again had a good chat with him as well, but I genuinely liked him as a leader as well. The way he was, that character. I don't have that character. So sometimes when you see a person having that character, you feel like, wow, this is so cool. So, that character that I don't care what people say. I will do what I want to do. So how did he get that strength to do in Indian cricket? You can do it anywhere else, but doing that in the Indian cricket setup is a little tough.
The best question to ask Mithali Raj. What should we ask her if we see her?
She's always, she had a extremely nice poker face with her hundreds or zero, and that's one thing which I always took from her. When I watched her. So that's one thing. How can she actually have that? Is it really there, or she used to act? Sometimes you act even
of course, yeah.
So yeah, she was always, she was always like that. The same way she would sit in a dressing room even after getting a score or not getting a score. So that's
giving nothing away. Yeah, good poker face. You looked after Meg Lanning quite a bit. Your interactions with her.
I've had a good chat with her again. I think one thing with Meg, I think how did she handle a team of superstars and lead that era? I think that's a tough thing. She was made the captain when a lot of people were, had there's a lot of stars in her team, and still she managed everything and won that many World Cups, which is nice. And as a batter, I think when her golden era was there, still she's a great batter, but that 4 or 5 years where her 50 looked like a bad score for her. So how did she keep that?
And what should we ask Smriti?
कुछ भी नहीं, खाना क्या खा रही है?
खाना क्या खा रहे हैं?
Some football questions you can ask me. Any other life advice? I have given pretty much a lot, but yeah, I think.
What would we ask 9-year-old Smriti who started playing cricket? What should we ask
I really
her? What
want to
should we
go
tell
and
her?
ask her that how I was so organized. I'm not organized anymore. I was a very good kid. I genuinely sometimes just sit down and say कि मैं कैसे थी वैसे. I mean, I was a very good organized kid and now I am not. So I only want to learn from my own mind, your own self, that how can I be organized again.
That is beautiful, actually, looking at it. And finally, you know, one of the reasons of this podcast and speaking to illustrious people like yourself is just to kind of look at the way that sport has evolved, not just women's sport, but sport in India. And I think if you're talking about women's sport, WPL certainly is a testament to what all of you have achieved across the formats and the fact that there is a home World Cup around the corner. And from 2017, where you felt like the eyes were on you, to now what would be 2025 with the World Cup, how much has changed? What are your expectations?
I think we are playing a home World Cup after 2017 for the first time. So, of course, you know that people are going to come out in youth support. They're going to try and come in every game, which I expect everyone should. And yeah, I think just the whole experience of playing a home World Cup and one day World Cup. I think one day World Cups are special in terms because you have to play each team. It's a mentally plus physically taxing World Cup because not many people understand that playing 7 one-day matches, traveling and then playing the semis and the finals whenever. So it's 9 quality matches of traveling and one day is a hard format in terms to keep your body fresh. So the only expectation is that we all are fresh till the end of the World Cup. And yeah, I think the way people have supported women's cricket in WPL or everywhere, I think the same way they come out in youth support in the World Cup and hopefully... I would not say anything else.
We leave it at that. But I'm sorry, I must ask you one more question, and that is because some of the changes that we've seen because of the WPL was India's recent success in the Under-19 World Cup. And the confidence and the power hitting and just the game awareness. That was an outstanding final. Something you want to say to those girls who will now take the next step and hopefully one day look to wear a senior jersey?
I actually was hooked on to all the matches they played. I watched all the matches and the way the body language, I mean... Genuinely, like people will talk about cricket and all of that, but the body language of those girls were outstanding. I learned a lot. I mean, to be fair, even I learned a lot in terms of the way they dominated each and every game.
Yeah.
I think the whole...
They swept aside.
Yeah.
Maybe against England, that was the only one they just were,
Yeah, but still, I mean, they ended up winning by 7-8 wickets.
Within 11 overs.
I mean, every match, I mean, there was one-sided domination, which I always want India to, I mean, that's a vision for the Indian team, right? And now that the Under-19s have started doing, I mean, that vision, I just feel can come in reality. But of course, there's a lot of work still to be put for that. But yeah, I think I would just congratulate them. They've made us proud once again. And but this campaign, I think, was really special. One of our RCB girls, Joshita, also was part of it, and she's, I think, joining the team today. So really looking forward to meeting her as well. But yeah, I think the confidence which they had, I mean, that's something which I would say that we all have to take away from that World Cup, and a huge congratulations to them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Super Smriti, thank you for this.
Thank you.
Looking forward to an outstanding season and keep being as iconic as you are.
Thank you.
Okay, so finally, since you said what would we ask Smriti, khana kya khana hai? Big basket now. Our digital sponsors have a special one for you because it's all full of yummy.
But trust me, I did not say this for that. That was a genuine one.
No, but this is for you. Thank you for coming and talking to us and giving us so many inspiring things.
It was so lovely. We all watch you on TV, and I think you were the first women for us to see doing men's cricket. I mean, वापस से जुलूनी वाला. I mean, Mandira Bedi, was the one, and then you, I think, we always watched you, so always you've been very inspiring.
And I'm looking forward to hosting more of your matches.
Yeah. So, for that, you have to come.
I'm there only, but I'm sitting this time like I'm relaxing, watching WPL games.
Oh yeah.
With my son, he's a big RCB fan. So, the next generation is taking on RCB. But this is for you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Big Basket now presents RCB Podcast.